So we have a fairy portal, and some of them are custom, and some of them are originals, we call, which means that they're just sort of themed. You can either fill out a questionnaire and we create a portal and a Faeries Tale to go with it, or you can pick a theme and we already have some existing Faeries Tales written. So some of the pre-existing ones are, we did a portal with books on it, a whole bunch of books piled all over. So we thought, what if they escaped, like Cinderella escapes or Rapunzel escapes, and they do crazy things in the real world. So I wrote one about Sleeping Beauty, who gets out of her book and she goes looking for a coffee stand so she can drink enough coffee to stay awake for 100 years. I wrote Cinderella's Soul Search, which is about Cinderella, and she is she's not very happy with Prince Charming, so she's running around buying shoes, leaving half of the shoes on eligible bachelors' doorsteps and trying to find her soulmate. And then Rapunzel, she comes out of her book and she is so sick of her hair, she has to go get a half-shave haircut. An absolutely wild concept happened because I wrote this book, The Song of the Ocarina, which is about Fae who live in New Zealand, who use earth energy and music to make magic. So my partner Sherry read this book. She loved the concept of the Fae, and she made me a little tiny fairy portal for my birthday. And as a thank you, I sent her a story about the fairy who lived in that portal. And she jumped up and down and giggled and laughed and said, "This is a business."
We have a program that spectralizes our images. So when I first did the portal for Anne, I walked out into the aspen forest and I took a picture of the portal up against the tree. And so Absolutely Wild actually evolved from photographing a portal in the wild. And we decided that every portal that we did had to have its photo taken in the wild. The process that I use is creating a back or a basis for it. So I create I take a thin piece of clay and I fold it so that I can build the portal and the scene on top of it. So you can see here how that goes, and then I put everything on top of that. My husband created these nice little wood frames for me that I can use to make sure that it's going to stand up and it's going to go flush against the wall, and I use those to design the portals on, and that gives its foundation. I use two types of clay. One is it's called sheepdog clay, and it is got fibers in the clay, so it's like a traditional clay except that it has these fibers, and the beauty of it is it can dry and be reconstituted, so I can let the piece dry, and if I want to make an adjustment, add something that Anne has added to the story we want to include or make some changes, I can just spritz it down and I can make a change to it. Whereas regular clay, once it dries, it is not very forgiving. So I love the sheepdog clay because it is very forgiving, and it also allows you to do a lot of wispy work. It will wisp up and hold its shape. Then once I make it out of the sheepdog, then I have to seal it, and then I have to paint it from there. Those are not really conducive to being outside. Then the other product that I use is a polymer clay, which is a plastic. So I create the portal out of the clay, and then I bake it, and then I paint it and seal it.
We incorporate into every single portal is a small kiwi character, which you can search for on each portal. So yeah, you get to go look for a Kiki.